Hello and welcome back to AIBC Summit YouTube channel. In today's segment, we are featuring BlockChainSpace, which empowers the next generation of play-to-earn guild gamers and owners in becoming successful entrepreneurs. Now, if you're in the Philippines, you've probably heard whispers of Axie Infinity scholarships. And joining me today, I have BlockChainSpace's very own founder, Peter Ng, to discuss. Peter, it's great to have you back here on the show.
Thank you so much, Yanni. Thank you for having me.
Of
Very
course, it has
excited.
been a year since we spoke, and you've taken a complete shift with your organization structure and operations, and we'd love to know more about it. So could you give our viewers a little bit of an overview about BlockChainSpace and how everything works out?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So actually, I think about a year ago when I think we were in a conference together and we, there was several other panel speakers. We did actually touch on Axie, and I remember saying like that a lot of people were basically getting into crypto through through playing games, right? Playing Axie Infinity. And I think back then that was already the early kind of signal that we were about to kind of like embark into this part of the industry. And so for those that know blockchain space from like back in the day, so we've been around for already 3 years, since 2018. And we've always been advocating education of crypto, basically predominantly in the Philippines, with a physical kind of like space based in Makati. Now, our advocacy was always to educate people in the new technology, help them to kind of set up their wallets, make transactions, learn about DeFi, learn about all the new kind of innovations happening in the space. And then what happened is like Axie absolutely blew up in the Philippines, and it got really exciting, really quick. And what we kind of saw was the trend that everyone's getting into crypto, but they don't realize that they were, kind of thing, right? So they were actually playing computer games which had this earning element, right? And in order to get the amounts that they earned, these SLP tokens, they actually had to learn how to use the wallets, how to do transactions, how to use exchanges. And that was basically what we've been advocating for the last 3 years. And so we realized very quick, with this proliferation, this explosion of like Axie, that games or play to earn games will really be the enablers to drive like real kind of like mass adoption into crypto. And so that's where we kind of like said, okay, that's it, we're going in and we're no turning back.
It is absolutely amazing to see your evolution in such a short span of time. But Peter, how does BlockChainSpace exactly work? How do you help people scale up their businesses?
Yeah, sure. So us ourselves, right, we started as an Axie scholarship program. So for those that don't know, an Axie scholarship program is where you own Axies, right? You need 3 Axies to be able to own one account, right? And then that one account can actually be loaned to someone else to play with, right? And so that's where the term scholarship comes in place. So an Axie scholarship is actually loaning of accounts to other people that will play with the account, right? And then the arrangements, the business that's built around that is the tokens that are earned whilst that person is playing with the account, it's split as a commission. So typically a Axie scholarship owner, the person who owns the account might take something like, let's say a 30% cut of like whatever the tokens are earned in the account. And then 70% is given back to what we call the scholar, or AKA the gamer, right? And so this scholarship model was basically where we started as well. So we saw that, okay, we were very early in the space. We go into quite a few Axies ourselves, and we decided, okay, we're going to go knee deep into this, and we're going to what we did is breed a lot of Axies. So like really like participate in the economy, create more Axies, more accounts, and then loan these out to other people. Now, whilst doing that, we actually started building tooling around, kind of managing all of these accounts that we were creating. And so we saw that basically these Axie scholarship programs, although they were scaling very fast, but what was happening was a lot of the tracking was happening in like Google Sheets or Excel sheets and like very manual processes that were taking a long time. Right, so we started to automate a lot of this process in terms of like tracking, accounting, and like payroll solutions. And we started building technology to kind of like automate that. Not only this, we were also building kind of like community management solutions. So as a guild, what we call these Axie scholarships also known as guilds, right? So these guilds are basically these communities of gamers that align to play to earn games, right? And so for these guilds, we started like building other tools. So we have first, the one I talked about was this guild dashboard, where we could like monitor performance, automate cash outs, and so on. And then the second, the other products that we have are like community management. So a lot of these communities were being kind of started in Discord servers because like, a lot of the crypto people kind of love to hang out in Discord. It's just much easier for community management. Right. And so we started building like bots that would basically help facilitate like the management of your communities. And so these communities would grow really quick. Like a lot of these Discord servers are usually like thousands of people. And so when you're trying to like, engage with thousands of people, it's very, very hard. Right. And so one thing that we found is like, you need to create a bit of transparency between the owner of the guild and the community that you're building in terms of like, those that are earning, how much are you earning? How do you file for like applications and, generally keep like the community engaged. And so we started building community management tools that were native to Discord. So I think I've given you the long-winded explanation, but if you look at us in general, what we've done is we built basically tools to facilitate guild management for these play-to-earn guilds, right? And then on top of this, we started new pillars. So because our tooling was so successful, we started proliferating into lots of different guild Discord servers. And so we started to get a lot of guild data, and we became a guild data bank, right? So now we are like tracking data across, today we're over 3,800 guilds in the world, right? And so that's really global, like all these different Axie scholarship programs that are running across all these different countries. And from this guild data bank, we now have started building out financial services, which is we can now start to automate like things like credit assessment and issue out loans. So that's really the long-winded explanation of what we've been doing.
I understand. And Peter, the play to earn concept is so fresh and yet so revolutionary. I mean, it is a very exciting and effective way to earn income, why Axie gained so much popularity amongst Filipinos. But which region do you see the majority of players coming from?
So yeah, that's very interesting. So the Philippines definitely was the birthing place of kind of all these Axie Infinity scholarships, right? And Axie Infinity scholarships have probably driven around 80 to 90% of the growth of Axie itself, right? So of course, these scholarship programs are really, really important for like the future of play to earn games, right? And what we've now started to see, so initially, I think it was Philippines and then Venezuela, where Venezuela, it was, they had problems with like hyperinflation of their bolivar, right? And the local population were earning very little. I think I heard something like $60 per month, so, all these, yeah, it's absolutely insane. So, just to think that there are countries, that are earning much less than the Philippines is kind of like mind blowing. And I recently learned, like Turkey is almost the same. The average wage in a month is around $200 as well, right? And then you'll see like other developing markets like, Vietnam, Indonesia, also have some kind of similar demographics. So, of course, there are other countries. You've got like, India or any country in Africa, that also are potential markets for this kind of model. And so I think just like you said, Yanni, we've just kind of at the cusp of like, just breaking out globally, and people are just starting to hear about it. And so the Philippines has kind of been leading the way, but like other countries are hearing about it really quick, and they really start to understand like, the possibility of being able to earn by playing computer games.
I hear you. And just to add to that, I've heard hundreds of stories of people quitting their 8-hour week jobs just to play Axie. And it's crazy. But what about those people who cannot afford to quit their jobs or who cannot afford to buy an Axie team? Because if I'm not mistaken, an Axie team costs more than $1,000. What would you say to those people who want to go this route but do not have yet the capital to start?
Yeah, so that's exactly why the Axie Scholarship Program exists. So yeah, there was a time when a team would cost $1,000. I think teams now, so because the crypto markets have been shaky, right? I think teams now are around the kind of like $300 to $500 range. So it's like considerably less, but still very expensive, right? Because if you think about it, for any computer game, like who would pay $300 to enter a computer game, right? Like a PlayStation 5 game itself would only cost like $50, right? So why would you pay like, 6, 7 times the price? But then, so exactly why these actually scholarship programs exist. So there are a lot of crypto native people or people with kind of like more disposable cash, right? That basically are very bullish on the future of this play to earn economy and the play to earn industry. So because of this new phenomenon, right, they're able to kind of like put up the the capital and buy these assets first. So they take on the risk first, and then they by basically loaning them out, they basically get ROI on their investment. And if they're not very time sensitive, you can wait a bit longer for that investment to return. Now, I remember when I was talking about this probably nearly a year ago, I guess, right? We were talking about ROI numbers, and I think it was around like 5 to 7 months, right? I think it might be slightly longer now. It might be like 7 months to a year. But at its peak, when SLP valuation was very high, we were looking at ROI figures of like 1 to 2 weeks. So like that investment that you made would return back in like 2 weeks, and it was just absolutely mind blowing.
Right, right. And Peter, I
Yeah.
wanted to discuss with you some of the crypto games that are on the rise. What do you think is the next big thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, and always like one that's really popular amongst the public. It's very difficult to say because all these games are so new, and everyone's trying kind of like new different types of models, right? One that we've been following very closely, and one that we actually represent in the Philippines as an ambassador for, is the Sandbox, right? So the Sandbox is like a blockchain version of Roblox or Minecraft, right? Where you can have like different plots of land basically represent different game experiences, right? And there will be basically tens of thousands of different gaming experiences within the actual game itself. And so the Sandbox has built the infrastructure for people to actually create their own games on top of their lands, right? And people can come in and basically do adventures on the land, right? Complete quests, and then earn their sand token. And so this is actually an alpha right now. I think, and this is just speculation right now, that I think they are actually ready to take on probably the next million play to earn gamers. Their infrastructure looks very robust, and they basically only have to flick a switch right now to get people onto their lands and start earning. So I'd say they're very, very close to being the next ones. Right? There are quite a few others, like probably I'm sure you've observed, like not just games on Ethereum anymore, but it's like games on different blockchains, right? And so where transactions are much cheaper, which has been a real friction point for these NFT games. And so, yeah, there are quite a few on different blockchains that are emerging right now that people are very, very bullish on right now as well.
Very interesting. And Peter, tell us about the new formed alliance with CoinGecko. What does this partnership mean for blockchain space and for the community?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at our core, right, and as you mentioned when we first introed, right, we are here to basically empower guilds around the world, right? And so, how are we going to do that? So, part of our data aggregation process is basically to help guilds to gain exposure in places that they never had exposure before. Now, I'm just going to throw this random number at you, which is part of our like Guild Insights report. Now, guilds, a lot of people seem to think that guilds are very well funded. They're huge communities, and they they basically are investing a lot and they don't need help financially, but it's not true. So actually, if you actually look at the average guild size is actually only around 300 members in a Discord server, and then only 9 scholar accounts, right? So that means that most guilds are actually micro guilds, right? So these micro guilds are the equivalent of your average individual entrepreneur, right? So that's why we call them entrepreneurs, right? So a person like myself could own about 9 to 10 accounts, and then I could loan them out to my friends and have them play, and we do a revenue share. And so that's your average kind of guilds right now, right? So what does it mean for us to be able to share that kind of data now on CoinGecko? Right. Well, these micro entrepreneurs, a lot of them want to be able to scale, but they have no access to financing. Right. So some of them are not very kind of crypto savvy. So they don't understand DeFi. They don't understand the loaning systems that exist, like protocols like Aave, right, where they could actually take out loans and then pay them back later. Now, so what we can do for them is based on the performance of each guild, and because we have that data that we can actually measure the performance, we can actually now show that to the world, right? And the people can go into CoinGecko and see like, oh, how well is that guild performing, or how well is that guild performing in Southeast Asia or in South America or in America, right? And so now we can start to, because we have all this data on the performance, we can actually tell people, okay, well, you want to find the top 5 guilds in South America? Yeah, here they are, right? And then we can connect them and allow these people to be able to raise investment, right? And we're also building some of those financial services ourselves.
I love it. Huge congratulations again, Peter. Now, lastly, tell us about the guild token that you just launched recently.
Yeah, absolutely. So really exciting time for us, right? So the guild token is, named guild on purpose, right? So the guild token is really there to encompass and like gel together the whole guild ecosystem. And so for guilds, what that means is it's the guild owner, the gamers themselves, the game titles, and then investors on the outside, right? And so the guild token basically puts together all those people and allows them to interoperate, right? So the idea is that guilds can do guild-to-guild interactions, right? And whether that's through esports or tournaments, or whether that's getting access to different services. Like if guilds want to be able to access like our own tools, right? They need to be able to own guilds to be able to access those tools or get discounts on rates for certain tooling, right? So we're building part of the infrastructure which is accessible through the guild token, right? The other part is, so for the games, right, those game titles actually want to be able to have a distribution channel, right? And so who are going to be playing those games in the end, right? So the guilds basically are these perfect distribution channels for game titles themselves, right? They can go to the guilds, so like a platform like us, find exactly who are the top 5 guilds in Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and they can connect with them and basically say, hey guys, we got this new game. Would you like to play it? And so Guild is going to facilitate that interaction.
I am so inspired. In the year 2021, we have seen the launch of your guild token and huge progress with BlockChainSpace. Now, looking ahead, what is in store for you guys next year? What's in the roadmap?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. So and that roadmap keeps evolving a lot as well. The play to earn space is very nascent, and as you know, in crypto, nothing moves slowly. So there are new opportunities like presenting themselves like every single day. Everything we're doing is basically around tooling and being able to provide better data sources for other people. So if you have a look at our roadmap, the kind of things that we're building is really to aggregate more data. So the first thing we want to do is, and our first benchmark is, we want to get coverage of up to 20,000 guilds in the world by March, right? So that's a milestone that we've set ourselves, and that's one that we really intend to obtain, right? And we have many ways that we're going to do that. So with the funds that we recently raised, we need to be able to proliferate, our technology, our tools, and also get more people kind of like into our directory and database so that we can, basically be the best, I guess you can call it, guild data feed in the world, right? And now with that feed, other people can actually build their own products and services on top of that. So what that means is, like, if you want to provide your own financial financial solutions to guilds, you need, like, the performance data, right? And we will basically feed that performance data into other people's platforms that need that data. So we're going to be the purest, what we call the data oracle for guild data in the world. And so that's the really exciting part for us. And then the other part is, of course, like, provide more tooling for, guilds to be able to scale. So, we have a lot of in the pipeline in terms of like automated credit solutions, automated cash out solutions, right? That allow guilds to not worry about like all those, cumbersome, tedious processes that they're facing today.
Sounds like exciting times ahead. Well, Peter, thank you so much. You have been such an icon and an inspiration to this space. You have dedicated your work into growing, educating, and helping the community. And the community wouldn't have grown this much if it weren't for you. And it was super amazing to learn from you today and to have you here. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to meet you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. That is it for myself and Peter. If you think this video brought value to your life, make sure to comment and please subscribe to see more videos and interviews like this. And we'll see you for the next one.